Hear that?
Yes, we can hear.
Okay, so, we've been contacted, the Army contacted Special Events. They were at Halloween and they would like to have a military appreciation day at, Outhouse Park, May 18th. I think Lindsay you talked to him again since our initial talk. I think he had huge visions of having thousands of people at Outhouse Park. And I think we kind of talked him down to, if he wants to use Outhouse Park, maybe an event where over the course of 3 or 4 hours, maybe 400 or 500 people might rotate through and kind of walk through the park. Army would be there, Navy would be there, each branch would be there. They'd have a couple of food trucks. They bring in equipment.
How do you stop people from coming?
Oh, you don't.
Right,
You
so
don't.
if they expect thousands. how
No,
would
they
this-
don't. They were wrong with their estimate. I spoke to
Yeah.
him after the fact. He just said he gets overexcited, and this is the first time he's kind of like, putting on an event. So we said
Yeah.
realistically for them, they're going to see around, maybe 500 people between the hours of, we discussed, I think 11 to 2 or 11 to 3, and completely weather dependent, obviously in May. But their goal is just to get more involvement in the community and just more involvement in, just in the area, which I think is great. And then, yeah, just getting, it's going to be a simple event. For them, it's important though for exposure.
And really, there's nothing on our part other than to say, yes, you can use the park for that day, that we would agree with the park. I mean, definitely if we're in town, swing by and check it out, but
Well, there needs to be some thought behind this because of 500 people, that park doesn't have the capacity to
during,
park 500 people.
during the course of the day, 500 would
I
run through.
understand that, I understand that, but maybe 500 people will show up at 11 o'clock.
Then they won't have a place to-
But
But they won't have a place to park, so they'll have to go do something else, right?
Well, he has said that they're looking for volunteers that would
So
be
they
there to
will,
help.
they'll take care of
They'll take care of the
of
details.
managing the
Yes.
crowd management.
Yeah.
That was my question.
Yeah. So,
Correct.
You say 11 to 2 would be the projected time?
I mean.
11
I-
to 3.
11 to 3, okay.
Yeah, with a couple of food trucks and
Mhm.
so we just really would need to say, is it okay for the food trucks to be there for their event? And again, they'd handle the setup, they'd have volunteers there, for
What would they need from us?
nothing.
No,
Just support. They just want support to hold the event in the park.
I think it's a great
I think it's a
idea.
great
Yeah.
idea too.
So-
I think we would have to have our park rangers there. Somebody
Who are those?
from the town needs to be there.
Yeah,
I
that would be
think
the plan. Someone just
I
to help
can-
navigate through it.
So. What'd she say?
Somebody would be there to help navigate through it,
Yeah,
Okay,
someone from the town.
okay.
and again, we're just gonna give them now kind of the okay, and we've got until May to work out all the details and
Mhm.
so. And I think he's got a lot of work to do on his end
Mhm.
to,
And the reality of it is, it's a first time event. The
Right.
likelihood of it being overwhelming is probably unlikely, but you never know.
And it'll be very weather dependent. If it's
Right.
crappy mid-May, you're not gonna have, I mean, you'll still have people, but not as many. If it's a beautiful day, I mean, who knows, the park could be full.
If it depends the equipment they bring too. If there's a lot of equipment there, people driving through will stop in
Right.
for sure.
Are they,
They're hoping to get a helicopter, which would be
That'll
really
bring
neat.
some people in.
yeah.
That's great.
Wait, they're gonna land helicopters there?
Yeah,
Are they
it's
gonna
pre-
land?
It's a pretty big area and they could always land by the Civic Center.
so I mean, that's his goal. He hasn't confirmed a helicopter yet. I don't think, has he, Lindsay? That's-
No, nothing's been confirmed yet. They're still in the early stages of planning.
Yeah.
So they just want an okay from us for the 18th. to Do it.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
Or anybody opposed to it?
I'm not opposed to it, but I would prefer to see the plan before we say, oh, yeah, it's great, okay.
I think Lindsay, that as they work through the plan, I think he's very receptive to contacting us and saying, hey, good idea, bad idea, let's make sure we go with these things.
Yeah, I mean, there's parameters that I've
Right.
set already right off the bat. I mean, as far as where they can place certain pieces of equipment, where they can't, what that parking looks like. That's something that our parks department will have, you know, for that overflow parking, we'll have that all marked out. You know what I mean? Where when they come in, you know, whether it's Andy or a seasonal staff member in May or a few working that event, I have no concerns on where
Yeah.
and what they're doing.
Right.
So are they going to put up it as this, you know, like they do with the Waterfront Art Festival, where they have the little tents for each
Yeah,
element?
each
of the
branch would
certain-
have a
Yeah, okay,
little display and.
okay,
Yeah.
so,
Lots of goodies to give out.
okay. And, but so the details, I think we need the details as they get along, because some of them might need power too for their.
They usually bring their own
their own
generators
power
and stuff, yeah.
So
Yeah,
overall, the committee is,
Playground and the little kids there, so. There's gotta be some safety measures taken to protect other people who are using the park on the same day.
What's the soccer schedule? Probably should let,
in
Probably.
May.
let everyone know that park's taken over that day. It's
Right.
one day.
Yeah, again, I'm not concerned with all the logistics on our end. I just need to know if this is something the committee supports. And then from there,
It's not an
the Parks
activity, yeah.
Department will take care of it.
And as they flesh things out, you know, I'm from what we've done so far, I think he's very receptive to listen to us and take suggestions and things about what can happen that day, so.
Because if they've never done this before,
Right,
they don't know what to expect
Right.
either, so we have to.
Well, they meaning the other branches, they have. He is just the one that is initiating this is his first time initiating an event like this, but I mean, they do events all the time.
Well,
in
yeah,
the
I really,
area.
they don't do it in the middle of a park that has two playgrounds that are in use on a Saturday usually.
Right, but again, the logistics piece, I'm not concerned with. That's something that me and my staff will handle.
Yeah, I have confidence Lindsay and her staff will be on top of all the details, so I fully support it.
so Lindsay, I think we're good to go to tell them, you know, yep, sure, we'll work with you but we would like to, you know, kind of flesh things out as we go.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's not gonna be one of those things where we say, okay, go ahead, and then we don't hear from them till May 18th.
Right,
Right.
So as we get updates and as he solidifies what branches can actually come, what vehicles are coming, like there will be a map and a plan on where all those things are being located. For all the reasons that I think, you know, if there were concerns, you know, we're gonna cross our T's and dot our I's on that. So excellent. I will let him know. Thank you guys. I'm very excited. Something different. And then, Mark, sorry, on the agenda, what's next on there? I just want to.
Your update.
Okay, well, we're heading into kind of a crazy season here with a lot of things going on. If you guys have not heard, our town manager will be leaving January 8th to pursue other opportunities in Texas. So with that being said, this kind of segues into what I need from the Parks and Rec Committee. So as far as Motion Junction goes, you know, Doug and I had discussed anything that has to do with inclusion of Motion Junction. We would like the committee to, you know, approve or deny certain things, the request from that group. One of the items is these mindfulness signs that they had proposed to put along the outside of the sidewalk, which was not part of the agreement in the original plans. However, obviously, looking through it, we fully support it, but I would like to get the committee's input on, you know, whether or not you think it's a good idea. If you say yes, then they can move forward with them. Can you see this sign? The mindfulness is paying attention on purpose. Do you guys see that on the screen? So this is an example, sorry, let me try to zoom out here so you can see the full thing. So it follows suit to the signs that are on the inside of that playground area at Motion Junction as far as like the aesthetics of the sign. And then it'll also be the exact replica of like the outside of the sign. So this is what they look like. It's part of the mindfulness trail. They had sent us over a map. I'm going to try to zoom in here so you guys can see. Sorry, it is small. But these locations are where they want to place them. So as you can see, they're on the outside of the sidewalk. So that falls now towards the Parks and Rec Committee to approve or deny that request for them.
And,
It's
and
both-
this is the sidewalk that just kind of surrounds the playground.
Correct.
So-
Yep, the sidewalk
Right.
is around the playground. That's correct.
So anybody that was walking around the outside of the fence on this sidewalk.
Yeah.
Would just have these signs to see as they walk around.
It's more for like positive affirmation, different yoga poses that you could do while you're walking or, just breathing techniques.
So these don't all say this exact same thing. They're all,
No, they're all different. Yeah, they're all different.
yeah, I guess I'd want to see what they say.
7 signs, Lindsay, is that what it was? I don't remember the exact
I believe it was 9.
9, okay.
9.
But from us, they just need to know
Who's paying for them?
They are.
they're
Great
paying.
question. We are not.
No.
That is something that the group would be paying for.
Who's gonna pay to install them?
They are taking care of all that. Like this requires no work or expense from the town at all.
But do we have each of the sign, what each sign says? Can't we see those?
I don't have that and they did not send that over.
Yeah, I think we should get that.
I agree.
Okay, that's fine.
Exactly.
They're working with the Idea Center again regarding like the messages and stuff to make sure like it's fully inclusive. I'll see if they can pass that along and I'll try to email that out to you guys, but they need to know like this month because they have to place the order.
So we support the concept of adding signs around the outside, but would like to see what each of the individual signs would say before they're placed.
Is that because you
Before-
guys have an opinion on what's on them or just to like what is the purpose of needing to know what's on them just so I can share that information with them?
So, okay, to confirm they're like appropriate, right?
Well, and it's a permanent structure that's going in on the park. I think it's a good idea to know what each one says, honestly.
I have accessibility questions about the signs. So here it is a all-inclusive playground, and we're going to put signs that from first look like they're for people standing. And they're signs for mindfulness and whatever.
Lindsay, could you put that sign back up?
Yeah,
Put that,
I can't read it. What does it say?
Yoga pose, breathe, notice, positive affirmation.
Okay, so we have a handicapped population, a population that needs accessibility. And we're going to put signs up for walkers.
Well, I
Well,
don't,
it's
Karen,
a sidewalk that you would also.
I need to remind everybody that the people who are coming up with these signs and the placements are the ones that are from the Idea Center from the University of Buffalo to ensure that this is still a certified all-inclusive playground. So, I mean, these are the experts that are, coming up with the height of the signs and what's on the signs and all that stuff. So just keep that in mind. It's not just
But also keep in mind
one
that,
person that's
there
just
are
coming up
people-
with it.
keep in mind, there are people who can walk but cannot stand for a long time, and perhaps there needs to be a bench in front of each sign. Because you're talking about breathing and affirmation. And I've been in yoga, I know what it is, and a lot of it is self-contained. And you have a handicapped population, and I believe that a playground that deals with all inclusivity including handicap and elderly and seniors and whatever, needs to take that entire population in mind when they're doing, a yoga trail.
I'm
So-
not sure you could put a bench on that perimeter or 9 benches on the perimeter.
So
You-
these
you
are
know what I mean?
benches
Pardon me?
on the plan, right here where my cursor is.
Yeah,
Those
There
are
are-
benches.
Okay. But I'd like you to take that back to them, that I personally am concerned about, the, ability of mobility, to get to the signs. Well, I don't know what I'm saying. John Casey can say it better than I can.
To
He's gonna
get
bring
to
it
the
up,
sign
so.
itself is what you're worried about, not about the.
Yeah, you know, there,
So Is
It's
that not,
not
that's a
just-
sidewalk, right?
it's not
It
just
is a
people that
sidewalk.
walk
Yeah, yeah.
that want to do these things. So there's people like me that walk very poorly that would like to be able to do these things. And there's people like John Casey who can't walk at all, who would like to have access to these things. So, and they're all within our element, our community, because we serve larger than just the town of Canandaigua, obviously.
Well, I guess I'm a little confused because it's a sidewalk, so.
I
you can
understand
get
that.
You can get around on the sidewalk, right?
I understand that. I
okay.
understand that.
And
Lindsay, could you just confirm with them
Imagine
that
a
the signs would be,
she could get around
They-
there.
Megan
Maybe
gets
oppose.
around it.
Right.
I just don't wanna confuse with just one microphone. Lindsay, but would you just confirm that, again, I mean, they've designed the entire park, I'm assuming that they're gonna design these for people in wheelchairs as well as walkers, could you just confirm that with
Of
them?
course, I'd be happy to.
Okay, thank you.
And they should have the mock-up of all of the signs, so it shouldn't be too hard for, oh wait.
Yeah,
hang
That's
on.
what I was- You scroll.
There
down,
you go.
they're all there.
you got them all.
So.
So Lindsay,
I have them
is
all.
this out of the scope of the original project? Is that why you're coming to the town, to the Parks Committee?
Not that it's out, well, technically, yes. I guess to answer your question, Dave, yes. So this was not on the original plans.
Right.
And we're trying to have, and I briefly chatted with Mark about it last week, they have so many good ideas and I just don't want it to go outside their purview of what they're responsible for. Because going outside of the sidewalk technically is out of what they're responsible for in a sense. So that is why I'm coming to the committee. Because this is a town park. It will always be a town park. But I mean, I think the signs, I don't think they hurt anybody, in my opinion, but it's just good to get input from you guys.
So Lindsay, are the signs, as you walk around the inclusive playground,
Mhm.
you're on the sidewalk, are the signs on the outside of the playground, on the sidewalk?
Correct.
So you'd be looking away from the playground to look at the sign. That's why it's out.
I only say correct just based on what I'm looking at here with where they're placing them. And then also they already pre-dug the holes this past fall without permission. So we have since filled them in, but
So Lindsay, the holes, the signs are gonna be mounted like off the curb, like on the parking, or
ground.
the driveway side of the curb?
There's lawn there, right?
there's lawn. This is all lawn and grass.
Yeah,
So they're gonna be on the outside.
so
of the-
that's just,
Outside of the sidewalk, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
right, so.
Seems
And
pretty
again,
straightforward.
Lindsay is bringing this to us because it is outside.
It is
and
outside.
what happened is,
Outside of the scope of what they agreed to,
Right,
what we
yes,
agreed to,
right.
right?
and we
Correct.
just don't wanna, down the road, be caught with all of a sudden, hey, we're doing this, this and that, and it gets done without the town knowing what's happening.
Yeah.
So all Lindsay really is looking for is, are we okay with adding these signs, even though it goes beyond what the original Motion Junction wanted to do? So.
Can we see the rest of them? For fun.
Does that say brave? Oh, it says warrior
Oh,
pose.
sorry. Braves,
boy.
please.
Say, I am brave though.
Warrior?
Oh, man, New York City.
Warrior? I don't know about warrior.
There's a kid in a wheelchair in every single slide.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yep, it could be a kid or an adult,
Could be
you know,
heavy.
they're very
yeah. They're-
not
they're
specific
good looking
drawings.
signs.
And then someone
Yep.
also has a mobility device over here, as you can see, with assistance.
They have one entitled Crescent Moon, and that's the name of an outhouse company. It is.
Some of those poses have other, other name, other.
Oh, and then there's Braille. There must be Braille on the opposite or behind, like on the other side of the signs.
Yep.
So that's about as inclusive as you get.
Yeah.
We have to go to
Thanks,
the
Deb.
Wilkworth concert.
Enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Performance.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be amazing. Okay.
So the
Yeah.
committee supports these signs. I think. is the-
Yeah, I think we're okay with the placement of signs around the outside. And any other? Dan?
No, that look good. Looks
We
like they're
still-
ten.
The bench at each side. Is it-
There are
No,
benches
they-
already, there are
they're
benches
laying
already
out
on the
the bench,
diagram, yeah.
So.
Which that's another, so, you know, not to just keep bringing up more things. I am 99% sure that they weren't on the original plans either. So, I mean, it sounds like you guys approve of those as well. The benches.
Yeah, I think, again, I think if it's something that they have and they are purchasing and installing and doing the work.
Well, the
You know,
only
Lindsay,
thing with,
it's not, it sounds to me like maybe when they come up with these ideas, before they get too far along, they ought to bring it to parks.
so
Just to
that
say,
is our intention for the future. However, these are some lingering
yeah.
issues that are being presented. I don't want to say issues because it makes it sound negative, but personally for me, for the benches, I would like us to dictate what benches are chosen. I know in the past, prior to mine and Andy's time, there were some benches that were purchased, you know, to start out that weren't very good. The ones that we have in our parks now are really good quality benches. I would like to follow suit with that. Just because we know they're great quality, we know how to install them. You know what I mean? Just for
There's
consistency.
no issues with people of different abilities using those benches. I'm asking, I don't know.
We would make sure that, I mean, we would obviously consult with the group, to make
Show 'em
sure
our-
that they, correct.
show
just
'em
to
our
make sure
bench
that
and
they
say,
are
yeah.
ADA friendly, or actually not friendly, but, you know, compliant.
Compatible, yeah.
So
And
are we
I mean,
good?
I think we're good with Lindsay and.
Yeah.
Okay.
Looking at that and. I
Yeah.
mean, you know how that works with your team, with everything else, so. I'm fine if you wanna check into that aspect and. Make that decision, we're happy with adding that and with your overview of it.
Okay, that sounds good. And like I said in the beginning of our conversation, you know, there might be other things that I'm gonna come to you guys with before it gets to this point where they're like, well, we're about to order these signs. I think we're on the plan. I'm hoping this is the end of that. Because everything else really is gonna fall on the Parks and Rec Committee's decisions for what the rest of these phases look like. You know, that's something I think maybe we should talk about in January and not today. But you know, what do we want to do with that field space? Like that's something that we have to start thinking of.
Right,
You know, we did have intentions of doing that Four Seasons building down the road. Is that something that we still envision? And again, those are decisions that are going to be left with the town and not with the inclusion and motion team.
right.
So just food for thought. Just wanted to put that out there so everyone's, you know, they have the same understanding.
So I think we're good with allowing them to move ahead with the installation of the signs. You will check on the benches and go from there.
Yep, that sounds good.
Okay.
And then Mark, just two more things. I don't know if you wanted to go over, if you wanted me to do this in January, to go over our parks master plan in more detail. I know we have on our agenda to go over the priority items. Do we want to touch base on that? And then in January, we can get into the parks master plan.
Dave, would you say that the town board is okay if, I know that you guys have met and talked about these priorities. Are you good if we kind of revisit the whole plan in January and get you input after that?
I only speak for one, but I am. I mean, I think it's better to spend some time on it
Yeah.
and kind of going over it and Lindsay to help these guys know what might be fundable, what we might be able to get grants for and stuff versus stuff we have to pay for.
Definitely, and I do think it'd be good to give you guys an updated, you can see my screen, right, with all the red and stuff
Yeah.
on there, okay. So I did that last year, where I like lined out things, you know, put in what was for last year's budget, 2024. So I want to update that for you guys too. When I went through it earlier today, there are definitely some things on here that I don't think apply or things have evolved. So maybe we do leave that conversation for January, so we can just get some direction on that.
And in that will give everybody, I had sent out with the original agenda, the list.
Yes.
I think that you and Doug had generated that priority list. So that'll give,
That was during, Dave, Dave, do you remember what meeting that was for? That was for a strategic, that
Yeah,
was
I
a
think it was
strategic planning session.
strategic planning
Okay.
meeting, yes.
so I mean, we'll have kind of, we'll work from that list as well as looking at this with you in January, and that'll give
Okay.
everybody kind of more of an
Time.
opportunity. Well,
Okay, so then you know what I'll do? I will send out that redlined list of the parks master plan to everyone ahead of time, so everyone can really look it over, just with like my little notes in there and some things, so that way everyone can come prepared in January and we can, you know, hopefully make some decisions and have direction.
okay,
Does that sound good?
yep.
Okay. Wonderful. What else is on there? Andy,
Like
is there
it's-
Andy, is there anything you want to share? Anything that's going on? I know we have Wreaths Across America at one of our cemeteries on December 16th, I believe, at 12. But what other things anything else you want to share with the committee?
We'll have the bathrooms open probably by the end of next week.
Wow, nice. Great job. Great job.
We have all the drywall painted, all the tiles up, so we just got to put everything back together.
Good. Nice. And that'll stay open through the winter, that bathroom, yeah.
Yeah, we leave them all open through the winter, we don't close any of them down.
Yeah.
Good. People really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay, I do have just one quick thing before I hand it over to you, Mark. I did meet with the YMCA 2 days ago. We would like to, as long as there's support, obviously, from the committee, which I think there is, we would like to get into like a 3-year contract for summer camp. I know I received really good feedback, and the little bits of feedback I received that weren't so good were things that we could just navigate through, operationally speaking. They're gonna send me a proposal hopefully by the end of this week so we can get it onto the January town board meeting. I don't foresee it costing any more than what we paid this year, which I believe was 18,000. And I wish I had my paper with me with the numbers, because they did have numbers of how many town residents received the discount. But I can send that out once I get back to the office on Monday.
Did you get a sense for participants in the program? Were they largely Canandaigua town residents in the program, town and city, people from other areas?
Yeah, so what's really interesting is they were able to show us a map, like an actual map of like where all the campers come from. The bulk is from like the city and the town. And then we had someone, I guess, from Spain come down to Ononda. There were people from Gates Chili, a bunch of other places. Like I said, I have the number. It's in my office on how many town residents were able to take advantage of the town discount rate. I know the total amount of the discount was over $16,000 worth of a discount, if that's to give any indication of, you know, the usage and everything for our town. I just don't have the actual people number on my mind right now. So yeah. I don't know if that answers your question or not.
Yeah, it sounds like there were a lot of town people that took advantage.
I
So,
did also get word that their rates will not be increasing next year for our town residents, so.
So if we enter into a contract with them, does that hold the rate for 3 years?
I believe that is something that will be in the proposal, so I haven't seen that piece yet. I can't imagine that they can only lock in at one price for 3 years because the cost of just staff alone is increasing year after year. But I'd like to make sure that our town discounted rate is still there since it
Yeah.
is our facility.
Anything else on that?
I'm good.
I had we'll just quick hit the things on the agenda. I had spoken actually to Cook's Kitchen. The idea of, I mean, we have a food truck at Outhouse just for our events. And I just wonder about if we somehow, if we say every Wednesday, we look to see if there's a food truck that would be interested in just pulling into the parking lot at, it doesn't have to be Outhouse. I think that would be the best one for people to use. Do we set it up for June, July, and August, Wednesdays, or something like that? Is there any? I think by town code, it would have to be us saying that it's an activity that is okay. I mean, they couldn't pull their trailer in and just leave it without our approval.
Right.
So, but, I mean, maybe we reach out to a couple of the food trucks and see if there is interest in just food truck Wednesdays and then at Outhouse, or maybe every other Wednesdays at Outhouse and
I think it's a great idea.
so.
Or do you try like the first Wednesday of the month instead of getting 4 food trucks? Might be hard to get every week.
First and third Wednesdays of each month.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Summer.
thinking we have it, whatever the Wednesday will be that our concerts are
Right,
anyway.
same one, yeah.
So then, I mean, maybe.
Third
you know, that's-
Wednesday,
That's
yeah.
the third Wednesday and then, but is there support to try to maybe flesh something out with that and?
Just for June, July, and August.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe not even June, maybe, I think maybe reach out to a couple of the, Finger Lakes Barbecue, Cook's Kitchen, Harder.
I would start, I don't know if I would start in June, because June's still school.
Yeah, that's.
I would go maybe, start a little smaller, go July and August, see how it goes.
When does soccer start?
May.
If you do it on
Yeah.
a soccer night, you'll get
But
a
I-
pretty
but
big group.
It would be on the food truck, we could say,
Yeah.
hey, you know what, we're not, it's your decision, if someone wants to sign up, we look at it, we see. But are we okay pursuing it and
I'm okay. with that.
asking some of those questions? Lindsay, is that something you think it would be okay to?
I think it's a fabulous idea. I think it's just another way, how I look at this, it's something that we're providing for the people using our parks. So we're providing them an option to purchase food while they're there. I think it's a great idea. And I think, Mark, to your point, having consistently every week on the same day, then people know, they know what to expect. Like, oh, if I go every Wednesday night, there's going to be a food truck there. And oh my gosh, I don't have to make dinner for my kids while I'm running all over town. How perfect.
I think you should try for pick a night.
So I will reach out to the local,
Yeah.
start with the local food trucks. I mean, maybe it becomes something, we put a note in the newsletter that says, are you interested? If you own a food truck, are you interested? And then we work from that list originally. And then if we have to reach out to others to fill slots, maybe we do that and see where we end up.
Because we can always have more than one food truck. You know what I mean? As long as it's not like 3 barbecue places.
Yeah.
It'd be even better if we could find someone in the town just to help support, town
Right.
businesses. But I mean, it doesn't have to be.
So, I mean, we can, if we're good doing that, I will pursue that and see what we can add and come back in January and if, I mean, we've got till, into the spring, I think, to line some of that up.
Oh, I think you're gonna have to line them up pretty early. I mean, I think,
Right, but I mean,
yeah,
Over
just
the
to
course
decide.
of the next 2
Right.
months.
Yeah.
I would reach out to people who've done our concerts
Right,
and stuff
right,
first.
first,
Yeah.
right.
They're town resident, right?
And I don't know, I personally, early on, I would say one food truck, so
Right.
they're gonna reap the benefits of being there.
Right.
They're gonna make, they're
Yeah.
gonna make money.
Right. So, okay, I will work on that a little bit.
I mean, it's a
Um,
weeknight, which is good.
Yeah.
Most of them are busy on the weekends.
Yeah.
so-
So I know, Lindsay, also, if we're gonna do something with an event sponsorship, it's gotta be on the
Fee schedule.
A fee schedule,
Yep.
which will be set probably at the December town board meeting or.
January maybe.
January, yeah.
It'll be approved.
However, they can always, I mean, it's not uncommon for the clerk's office to provide an updated one throughout the year. So if we're not set on a, you know, an amount right now, they can always update it in February if they had to.
I know that we had talked before about $200. I know we had done $300 the first time. I spoke with Dave about it. Do we shoot for 250 kind of in between and hope to get 4 sponsors? And then that would be $1,000 to, and
At least offset the band and some of the other stuff.
I think we stick right now just for the events that we do at Outhouse Park with the movie and the
Concerts.
concerts and not try to cover any other events or activities around the town, but for now.
I think this is a good starting point.
And then, and I think that we can kind of flesh out, you know, over the course of the, again, the next, if it gets on the fee schedule, I think then we can kind of flesh out how our sign could be used and maybe a poster at the events and things like that. For any sponsor.
Yeah, because we
that-
talked about the sponsor, you know, having their logo on that sign. Are we also going to mention too, like we'll have it on like our social media things, like any advertising of this event, your logo will be on that. Is that something we should have spelled out for them so they know
Right.
exactly what it is?
Right. I think we can flesh those details out, but if we say a sponsorship, are we good with saying $250 and
Yeah.
hope to get 4 sponsors and we have $1,000 to cover the band and, you know,
Who are you going to approach for that?
so I think that we would advertise it in the newsletter and let people approach us just like the benches.
So
So
like,
it wouldn't,
community organizations.
whoever sees the ad in the,
Banks love doing that.
so,
Yeah.
yeah, so. But, so are we good? Then we can say 250, Lindsay, for an event sponsorship,
Yeah, I think that's very fair.
I'm good.
and
with
we'll
it.
get it on the fee schedule.
Just spell out the events that would be sponsoring. You make sure that
Right.
that's on there so that they're
Right.
aware.
So I would envision coming up with a flyer, like the bench flyer and like the sponsor retreat flyer. And have something like that with it spelled out, so.
Do you
And
want me
then
to
that-
try to mock something up and send something out to you guys? Just a mock up, just as a starting point?
We're not gonna say no if you're gonna do the work.
Well, it shouldn't be overly difficult.
That would be awesome.
Okay.
That would be awesome. Thank you. Let's jump down then. So we. I know that Heather was looking for some ideas. I don't know if she's done any more work on fees for parks. And I just did this today, so I haven't sent this out to anybody. But I went through and I compared Fairhaven State Park, a cabin with a bathroom, a cabin without a bathroom, Letchworth State Park, the same, Ontario County Park, and then Old Forge Camping Resort cabins, just to get a comparison for prices. Lindsay, I don't know how would Heather want to work with that? What do you think
Yeah, so I know she hasn't, I mean, she's looked at a couple different things over the past couple months. However, we just transitioned over to that new program right now, so she's been a little bit preoccupied with that. I mean, I would love for her to look at this and get her thoughts too. And then, I mean, I think it's we don't start our rentals until what, April 1st.
Right.
So I think it's reasonable if we just take, you know, the next month to look at it, and then maybe we come back to the committee in January with, you know, the results she had plus what you found, Mark, and then made a recommendation. Would that work for you guys?
I guess my only concern would be, it seems like this should go out. at
You
the
want it out
beginning,
sooner?
because people will be booking. I mean, if somebody has already called, are they locked in at the price, or were they told
Yeah.
there could be rates?
No, so anyone who books prior to, like, for example, prior to the fee schedule being updated, it's gonna be the price of whatever they booked at that time because they pay on the spot. It's, you know, they no longer wait to pay.
So is this something that maybe we would have to get done a year ahead of time so that, because you can sign up for those cabins a year ahead of time. I mean, do you leave it alone for the year and not change it mid registrations or?
Yeah, I mean, we could either do it now. I would say, I would recommend either doing it right now or waiting till after peak, like after Labor Day, to update the fees. Does that make sense?
And I'm fine either way. I just don't wanna make it, you know. My aunt called and why did she get the cabin, you know, for $250 and. 2 months later, I'm trying to get the same cabin and it's, $350.
Right?
I don't wanna put the town hall and, answering those phone calls from everybody, but maybe it's not a big deal. But,
Well, and I don't know that right now is an immediate concern to up the prices, only because we don't have any new cabins going in immediately. And we've already adjusted the resident rate discount, or at least I believe that's going on the fee
Yeah.
schedule for January. So that was an important one that we were all worried about. So, I mean, it's really up to you guys. And if you want us to get it out in January, that's fine. Or if we want to wait, we can wait.
I mean, I don't wanna rush into it with really nobody else seeing, this or having to digest it, but just as just a quick informational piece, really. It looks like our lakeside with bathrooms are underpriced. And it looks like our lakeside without bathrooms. And our uplands are. Pretty much on par with what you would rent other places. So, I mean, you can see. Haya went to, $100, to get a comparable. Rental at Fairhaven on the lake, is $50 more a night. Letchworth is not on the water. That's $142 a night. Really can't. Old Forge is kind of a different, I just thought, to see what a real expensive place is for. But. So anyway, I think that's. We can keep doing some work on that and let Heather see that and compare it to what she's done, and so.
Well, the only way that I would say to really increase prices at this point is if you have a lot of openings that haven't been used yet. If there's if 80% of the cabin spaces are not booked for the spring, summer, fall, then I would up it, but if more than that, if you got 50% that's already booked, then I would leave it alone.
So Lindsay, we'll let you touch base with Heather, just kind of get a feel for where that's at and,
Yeah, I can touch base with her probably next week.
okay. Anything else? I will send that out to everybody. Again, I just threw that together today. But just really for comparison's sake, but. We talked about the capital projects. We're gonna put that off. We'll look at everything in January. And Lindsay, you had just mentioned before, looking at some grant opportunities and. What has to happen? I know at school they had a grant writer. I don't know how the town searches those. What's the best mechanism just to be looking for those opportunities?
Yeah, so for smaller grants, we typically do them in-house, for like the $5,000 to $10,000 ones. The larger ones, we usually hire someone to write the grants for those because it's an extensive process. I mean, some of the grants for parks, for example, could be a 75-page document that you have to submit. Just to give you an idea on that. I've been set up with grants like this, couple websites, federal and state grants. So I'm getting the alerts for those now. Me and Sarah, we are going to go through some trainings. So Sarah obviously has more experience with grants than I do at this point in time, but I'm quickly getting up to speed on that.
Is it something that when we're sitting around surfing on the internet, if we look around and we see something, we say, hey, Lindsay, I saw this, is it something that would fit? Is that?
Yeah,
Does that add more to it that?
Oh no, I think if you stumble across a grant and it sounds good, send it to me so I can look into it. Okay. I think we're lucky here at the town because we have our strategic plans, we have our Parks Master Plan. We have a lot of supporting documentation which is a requirement for most grants. Anything with trails, pathways, land acquisition, I do know that those ones are more available and more frequently available than some of the larger ones. I know we got denied for one of the bigger grants. What was it the end of last year? Oh, for like the ADA paving of the trails. However, we went through a grant writer for that, and they had very valuable information because there's also like a closeout call for feedback on like why you didn't get the grant. And it was just because it was our first year applying for it. So we actually were welcomed to reapply again. So we're going to be doing that. So yeah, there's a lot of money out there. We just have to go after it.
Okay. And if there's anything that we can do, the committee can do that helps you out, just let us know, and so.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, if you happen to stumble across something, just shoot it in my direction. I don't believe you can write them, or on behalf of the town, I don't believe you can submit anything for us. It would have to be done internally or through, a professional agency. But yeah, any info is good to send to me.
Okay. And I just put that on there just, so that we're thinking about that, and because you would mention that, so.
Well, yeah, especially going into our January meeting, I'm going to write on there as far as like our Parks Master Plan, where I see us potentially getting grants for these things, and then we have to go after it. Sometimes they require a match. So, the town puts 50% in, and then we get 50% up to a certain amount. That requires a little bit more planning, for like 2025 budget. If we're going to try to go after a grant to pave, we should make sure that we have a placeholder of money, to say, hey, yes, we are planning on funding this, and then we get a match back. So I'll make sure to indicate that on the updated plan for us.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Anything else on that, on grants or?
Nope.
So 2024 planning. Every year the chairperson comes back up. Nobody replied that said they were interested. So is there anyone here that wants to?
Jamie raises his hand.
I saw Jamie
Raise his
move.
hand, goes, his hand go up.
Dan's got his finger out. So is this by default? I've got to do this one more time. So
I propose you, and I second you, and I third you.
Second them.
great.
You do a good job. bud.
All in favor?
So
Yeah.
I couldn't even make the Zoom work.
We're gonna have to check.
I will. If Lindsay will let me stay another year, Lindsay, is it okay?
Oh my God, please stay another year, if not more.
And the only other thing is, just so that we can start thinking about meetings. Do we stick to the same schedule of the third Wednesday at 6? So, and then our November meeting and December meeting will be one
Yeah.
meeting in
And that was.
the first week or two of December.
Yeah,
Unless you want to do it on the night before Thanksgiving and.
no,
No, I'll pass.
Okay,
So third Wednesdays,
so
Mhm.
third Wednesday.
third Wednesdays, and
First Wednesday of December.
I can add those. When you send me the minutes, I can just add them in and they'll be in the minutes.
and it's
Each
better to have
individual.
them here because we have that available. We have
Zoom.
the meetings here.
Oh, right. No, I would see, I mean, the potential of, I think once in a while to meet at a, outhouse hall or even schoolhouse or,
Schoolhouse, yeah, that would be a nice spot to eat. maybe.
yeah,
Like a
You
lunch.
just walk right over.
so. But in general, and especially if we've got an agenda that needs, things that we could meet here, but again, maybe working towards the potential of better electronics at some of these other places that might lend itself,
I
so.
do believe that got approved in the 2024 budget, so
So we might be able to Zoom
we could
from,
test it out.
right,
From Ononda, that definitely got approved.
so.
Yeah.
Ronda, schoolhouse, outhouse.
There's.
So anything
High
else,
speed.
any
fiber
other
Right now at schoolhouse.
information, any
Christmas party.
Christmas
You
party?
guys are invited. All the committees are invited.
On my calendar.
Good.
It is next
But I-
week, Thursday, 4 to 8 at the Green Front. It's the Christmas party, but it's also a goodbye to Doug, Jean, and Dale. There'll
Good.
be food,
Again,
Thursday, 4 to 8.
4 to 8.
For the 14th.
Thursday.
Pretty front.
How do we do? And so any other, anything?
Just wanna let you know that the senior group, we lost one person, she died the night before. Thanksgiving. And we gained a person the week after, so we're at the same number. But we have tickets for the Nutcracker. Thanks to our budget, so
When is that?
Sunday.
Fort
This
Hill,
Yeah,
it's at Fort Hill.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and then.
Awesome.
And then our other trip will be, but the trip to the Monsignor Snaggy Players is free, so all we pay for is the bus. Yeah,
Thank you.
that's it for planning.
So January, I don't know if I put it at the bottom.
It's 24.
January 24th will be our next meeting.
Yep.
So. Anyone make a motion to adjourn?
Me, I do.
Boy, Randy's getting pretty pushy over
I
here.
do, so,
Okay, well, thank you. Dan, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, everybody.
Lindsay, thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, guys. Andy, thank you.
Andy, yes. So,
Man of many talents.
so.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah,
You too, Dan.
Merry
So,
Christmas.
thank you.